guys.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. For Behind the Truth. All right. So this is where we're gonna get a little unfiltered. Okay, so we're gonna tell y'all to get your ass together, get your shit together, whatever. Whatever we need to do to tell y'all to wake the fuck up.
All right. All right.
Yes, indeed. Okay, because y'all need to wake the fuck up. Okay.
Well, you know what? I want to ask this question because we talked about this at the beginning of the show. Tamika, how do you this situation with Catherine and I don't know if you've been hearing about the situation over with the royal family and everything with her having cancer, but as a woman, what do you get from this? What do you are you getting the feel that something might, or is she going through whatever she's going through? Just your perspective on that.
I told y'all I don't read the news.
There you
So
go.
fill me in. Let me know what's actually going on. What was said.
Okay, so we're gonna get the there's a situation where she has been missing for some time because of health reasons, and now that allegedly, thank you, Darnell. Now that she has come out of hiding, and now of the situations where pictures that were put out to show the people that she was okay and everything was doctored up. Now people didn't believe it,
right?
So they wanted a real video of her saying that she was okay, and she came out and said that she had cancer. And
it's AI.
It
was AI generated.
Well, hey, I'm hearing that now. But what I don't understand is, to be honest with you, I hate that she has this illness. I hate that she's sick. But that's life. We all gonna go through something. My thing is with the press coverage of this, that I feel like there's a situation where I feel like the press that has been covering the situation has been on her side of the situation, which I think is okay because she needs that, because of her sickness. I don't think she needs any pushback from it. But when you think about her sister-in-law, Meghan Markle, when she had lost her child in the middle of a court case, people were throwing stones at her, and nobody from the palace came and said anything to say, back off or doing, I feel like in situations where I'm watching the coverage, I'm always thinking about, y'all, I understand, but no. I want to feel bad, but I can't feel bad to the point that there were no concessions for Meghan when it boiled down to how they were doing, how Harry and them were dealing with their children, with their issues with, health-wise. I'm just like, I can't get with this bandwagon of, with this situation, how they're covering Kate. I can't get with it.
Well,
I can't.
Well, here's the thing. We've talked about this on several occasions before. The way that system. Here's another system that's set up. I've said on the show that America is not owned. Britain still owns America. Okay, we have never been freed. Okay, it's always been an illusion. It's been propaganda since 1776. Okay, the only thing that King George allowed you to do was cross the road, cross the water. That's all he did. Because when he let them go to have a tariff in the Americas, so that he could collect money from them. Okay, that's what it was done. He said, "Okay, go," but I'm still own y'all. The Queen, before she transitioned, left, died, however you want to look at it, she still owned 2/3 of the planet. Okay, 2/3 of the planet. So that means like all of these other central places that she owned. Okay, and you wonder why. But anyway, here's the thing: most people don't do research enough to find out that type of information. We just accept whatever. All right. So what a part of that treaty or whatever that separation, that they had to always pay homage to what was going on in Britain. So everything that has ever happened, it has to be publicized, it has to be televised, it has to be newsworthy, and we have to be privy to it just like they are. So therefore, when you got the Kate, when you got the Queen died, when you got Diana got married, everything that ever happened, has to be given to the U.S. as a point that they have to do it. And I asked my sister a long time ago, trying to investigate this. I was like, well, why are we still having to do this and we're not even supposed to be a part of them? No, read about it and said, no, you're still owned. Okay, you're still owned. And it will go on until that treaty separated, or one of them die, whatever. I don't know. That end of it, I don't know. But this is why we have to see, I guess we could call it propaganda. we have to see it. Weddings, funerals, everything else, we have to be a part of it in its inception. So to answer your question, why we have to keep putting it on with it. But back into one of the things we'll talk about, then we go back into trying to heal people if we can.
Yes.
So I really wanted to bring up the thing about. I know we want to talk about it on this show. I really wanted to bring up the Dwight Howard situation, okay? And because this is a place of acceptance. This is a place of authenticity. This is a place where we all can grow from and understand things, where how we as a culture, we as a community of believers, we are a community of Christians, but how we put people in such fear of their own lives that they cannot be authentic in what they automatically know who they are. So this young man, well, an older man now, but this young man has fought his identity since, I don't know how, since high school or whatever the case was. He knew he was attracted to men for a very long time. Okay. But he played the cards, played the chess game, appeared here, there, whatever, fake women on his arm and all this type of thing to appease people.
Right.
My thing with that is that I was looking at the comments. I have to do that. Looking at the comments, but there was a lot of now. Here's the thing: there was a lot of support that came out. I was really surprised. I was really surprised at a lot of the male support that has come from coming to him in that, because most black men will dog another brother out because they find out that he gay. Okay, why I don't know. All right, but that's another point we can bring up in a minute. But my thing is, where can we, Tamika, as a group of people, as a society, to stop equating our own belief systems onto someone else's life?
Right. So it's so good that you're asking this question, because I had this conversation with someone about a month ago, and we were sitting across the table from each other, and I said something. I don't even remember what I said. But she immediately said, "Oh no, well, I don't believe that." And I said, "That's okay. I can believe something by myself." And
wow.
that's something that people need to understand, that if you believe it, you can believe it without someone else believing it.
You better know it.
And if you cannot, then you don't really believe it.
Yeah, and opening that up a little bit more, because you struck a point right there. What happens, I think, is the part of the human experience, is that we like to find support for what we believe.
Validation.
Validation, exactly. So when it's something that triggers that thing, we start running for that validation, our individual validation. So what happens is, now with social media, we get a collective amount of people. Oh, heck, they believe what I believe, so I know that I'm right in my belief system. Rather than challenging my belief system and saying, "Am I really true about what I'm believing?"
That's what I'm saying. I can believe all by myself.
Yes.
And I don't need you to believe it. That's one of the reasons why I don't have to push my beliefs on you, because I can believe it by myself.
I really like that. But and it goes. Well, I can see you're triggering a lot of different things. People are afraid of that independency. And to be an independent thought pattern, because like when you shift your thought pattern of just even spirituality, okay, for instance, I'm not changing the subject, but we get afraid, because it's like everybody's not believing us, or here again, the universe is revealing something completely different, and I finally found a place that I'm open to revelation. Okay. Okay. So when revelation comes, it don't come with an announcement like, "Hey, revelation's here." It's just like, boom, revelation is there. So you have a choice at that particular point in time to accept it and make it a part of your life, or keep thinking the way that you've been thinking. And 9 times out of 10, most people continue thinking the way they're thinking, and they don't grow into that other place of revelation, which typically happens in spirituality. Okay, because as you said earlier at the top of the other show, is that people are so programmed. Okay, we're programmed in our assemblies. Okay, you're programmed with the pastor and say that way, then it can't be true.
Yeah.
We're programmed that. I mean, there's a whole historical point about that being that set of programming too. But go ahead, Darnell. There's too much for me to get into right now. But go ahead.
But and it's funny, because I was me and Johnson was having this conversation just a few nights ago, and you say about programming and how people minds thinks, and we were saying, like, say for instance, if I say, "Oh, I can make $20,000 a month,"
Mm-hmm.
And somebody else could turn around and say, "Oh, ain't no way possible you can make $20,000 a month," or wherever the case may be. You think it's no way possible because you have not done it, or you have not seen it being done,
or you don't believe you can do it.
or you don't. Absolutely,
Absolutely.
but it can be done. But just because you hadn't seen it, it can't be done.
Right.
It's just like I don't be understanding stuff like that. I don't get it. I just don't get stuff like that. And it's like I say that because I was just sitting having a conversation with someone who was arguing up and down that it's certain things of that magnitude or certain thing that is not possible or whatever the case may be. Or if someone doing it or they say they're doing it, or you got to be lying about it. And it's just like, where is your mind, love?
Right. You know, we are all. I was having this conversation with somebody else the other day. And I'm. Everybody knows me. I'm always trying to find a way to encourage somebody. You know, from the place that they're in or whatever the case may be. Always, you know, that's a part of my gifting. You know, and being able to do that. And I was saying to them, I said, you know, you're already a millionaire. You just haven't realized that you were that millionaire. Okay. No, you know, I said, well, first and foremost, you've already doubted what you were in the beginning. Now, here's the thing: what it goes back to your upbringing. I hate to say that, but it does. It goes back to the foundation of what you come from. So, if you were brought up in a thousandaire home, guess what? You're gonna always remember to think of yourself as being a thousandaire. You know, and majority of the time, you're a 100aire.
Baby, I came up as a brown penny there, or whatever the case we what y'all. But guess what? Listen, I ain't never think of myself as that. I've been damned if that's so.
You know, but then, and you could agree with this too, Tamika. So we all come here and with the giftings in our lives to become that millionaire, to be that extremely prosperous person. But what happens that we don't lose it. It becomes dormant. It becomes pushed down because of our circumstances and our situation in the family we've been born into. Because that generation doesn't see themselves as that. So guess what? They push that on you. You know, and you fight a continued lifetime trying to get your place back that because it's calling you. It calls you every day. It calls you to come up to that particular place. But when you don't understand that calling or that revelation, you suppress it. And year after year after year after year, you start wondering, well, why, damn it, why can't I pay my GD bills? You know, because I'm not in the place where I'm supposed to be to have my bills paid. It ain't supposed to be working for somebody else. It ain't supposed to be coming from that because you have got a gifting on your life that has set that up for you. I believe personally that we come here with every step of the way from our prosperity from the moment we come out of the womb.
Absolutely.
Okay. But it is our responsibility to find out what that is, pursue that, and let it manifest in our lives. You know,
but that's why I said it's important that parents, first of all, parents have to learn who they are first, because they cannot help to nurture that and cultivate that in the children if they don't have it within themselves, right? But it also, you know, not to try to stifle a strong will because you don't know what their purpose is in life. I know my purpose in life is to advocate. I've been advocating for myself since I was a little girl.
Wow.
And so, but guess what? I had to be stubborn to be an advocate.
Wow.
But the adults were trying to beat that out of me as a child.
Wow. Like you said at the top of the show.
And so the thing is to not do that because you don't know what that child is supposed to do and be.
Right.
It is to steer it because, you know, I have a grandson. And so I have to tell my daughter how we have to cultivate and let him know how to steer that. You don't have to be stubborn when we say, hey, we need you to do this. And it's, no, I'm not going to do it. Okay, we understand you have a strong will, sir. However, let's steer that in the right direction. And that's what needs to happen, you know, in order for us to be who we are. Because that's really what happens. Then you start doubting yourself. I've done some great things. I've accomplished some great things in life. Do you know I still to this day still battle with imposter syndrome? Still to this day.
Now
it's me, the person who reads a book a day, who stays in constant is battling with that. What does that tell you?
It goes
That's
back to
good,
a
Mr. Eagle.
deep root stronghold that are part of our lives, and it is it's an ancestral curse. You know what I mean? And I fight those things too. We talk about that because I've learned over the course of my life to reframe in my short little years I've been on the planet. You know, you know, but as a really on my planet, but I've reframed it. It's been a struggle to reframe. That not so much that everything I heard was doubtful, but we don't have a long enough time tonight to get into my story in the way that the things I had to evolve from, in it. But I at this point, I have to remind myself a lot, now I know who I am. Okay. And now I pursue who I am. But it took me, if I could tell the story real quick. Okay. It took me in Atlanta, okay, to ride the MARTA train in the rain. A quick story here, coming from the gym. And at that particular, I felt the shift in my. I had to get off. I had to do all this stuff. It was a point where nobody was there for me. When I say literally nobody, phone calls, nobody could help me out. It was pouring rain this particular day, and where I was living at that point, I was renting a room. Okay, and I had to get back to this place. Okay, and I was in a place in my mind where I was judging two different places. In other words, I saw the place at one point, saw another in between where the train was going. I thought I would get home quicker by going one way, but I got off too early. All right, but it was a purpose in it. Anyway, so walking. So I get out there in the rain, rain's profusely coming down. Whatever happened. I get to a corner, stop for the light. Guess what? Car comes by, splashes me. Soaked me with water. I'm like, you know what? You heard the story. God, what is going on? What am I not doing? Okay, so I finally get back to the place where I was staying, and got in there, and I stood in the middle of the room where I was staying at that time, had a towel, was wiping off, and I just looked up and I just said, you know what, God, what am I not doing? What am I not doing? Okay, because I hear you, like you said to me, I laid out the list and this and that and that. And it's simply, he said to me, you have not been grateful for who you are and what you bring. That hit me like grateful and thankful for who you are. That hit me like a ton of bricks, And I was like, oh my God, because all my life I've been, I'm so grateful to Meek, I'm so grateful for Darnell, I'm grateful for my husband. I thank you, but I never took the time to be grateful for who I am and what I represented to this planet, what I was supposed to bring. And when I made that shift, when I tell you that the universe starts saying, okay, guess what? You know what? Now I got you where you're supposed to be. Now I can rebuild the process for you. I can put you on that rebuilding process. And I'm like, okay, now I get it. So sometimes we have to go through those experiences to wake the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? To wake the fuck up. Because we got to wake the fuck up. I'm telling you. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I want to say this though. It goes back to, I was watching this master class with about Maya Angelou. Oprah used to have this thing on our channel years ago. But it goes back to a point of when she needed to be reassured, and she talked about the moment where her mother had they were walking back up towards the road where she was trying to get onto the trolley, and she turned to her and said, I think you are one of the most powerful women that I've ever met. Now this is her mother telling her this as a young teenager. I think you're one of the most powerful women. You remind me of an Eleanor Roosevelt, of Harriet Tubman, and all this stuff. Wow. And I said, that must have been the moment she realized she was Maya Angelou.
Wow.
When your parents are telling you this, that gives you a platform to stand on and say, I am who I am, and I'm walking in my purpose. Because she might in that moment didn't think she was doing what she was supposed to be doing, but that gave her the push. And I think about that all the time. We're always looking, some of us are looking for reassurance and moments of doubt. It goes back to also the Bible when Peter saw Jesus walking on the water, and he believed, but he lost his faith, and he ended up sinking, but needed that, that lift. But I think we're all needing that lift, and I think that's where we fall short. And it takes a lot of muscle to encourage oneself. Yes, it does. It's not the easiest, but God, you have to do it for yourself. But boy, I'm telling you, when you have somebody tell you this is who you are, it does give you something to stand on at least, especially when it comes from your parents.
It does. And that's the thing. Like I didn't have that. I don't have that. And so because of that, I've had to cultivate an actual support system.
Yes.
Wow.
Right. And so, like, a lot of things, a lot of people don't know that they take for granted. Right. Having family that supports you. I had the opposite of that.
Wow. Wow.
Right. And so, because of it, I've had to cultivate an environment and put myself in spaces where people see me.
Wow.
Right. Because I can't do it by myself. Greatness is not built alone. And so, in order to be great, you have to have people to lean on.
Right.
And I just posted this, I think yesterday. But one of the thoughts, because I love to, once I learn something, I like to share with the world. But
telling me.
One of the things that I realize is that being in community with people is extremely difficult when you're used to being in conflict with people.
Wow.
However, you cannot become your great, brilliant self until you find a community of people. That is the reason why us as Black people have not progressed, because we don't see each other.
You better know what to say. You said a mouthful, Mr. Mika.
Right.
You need to be in community. The only way we are going to be great is we have to see the greatness in each other and really cultivate that greatness.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. Oh, wow. This is just so good. I'm gonna say, I want to say, I know we gotta wrap this part up. Thank you for that. But I want to say this to you, and as you were saying, and this is the directions for you and those that are listening. If you grab these nuggets as well, please do. Okay. I want to speak to your greatness. Okay. I want to speak to everything that you've ever endured. Okay. I want to give you strength and power that you have overcome everything that you've endured.
Yes.
Everything that you've endured has set the motion in place for what you are enduring. Okay. It has set you in place to be the example for so many people. You haven't even begun to see the light in the day of what is set before you. Okay. You have not begun. You're just in the beginning stages. You're still in your teaching stages. You're about to graduate, girl. Okay. You're about to graduate, girl. Okay. And you're going to grow when you walk, and the symbolic point of walking across that stage of everything, but you're walking across the stage of everything. When you put it this way, when you walk across that symbolic stage, you walked across everything you've been through. And your graduation is on the other side when you walk across that stage. So get ready to take that tassel, throw it off the side, take that hat, throw it up in the air, okay, and get ready to walk into your destiny, okay, complete destiny.
I received
That's
that.
right.
Okay.
She just been all you've been is in the process for the promise. That's it.
Yes.
Right.
Process for the promise. That's it for tonight. Process for the promise. All right, guys. Remember that. Process. You process this. You think about that, guys. I'm in the place of the process for my promise. All right.
That's it.
Thanks for tuning into After the Show. There's no formal goodbye. That. Tamika, thank you for taking the time out. And guys, we're gonna have
Mr. Mika.
this beautiful prosperous lady back real soon. Okay.
Yes.
This is good. This is good. Y'all, we'll see you guys next week on The Truth Behind the Truth.
Yes.
Have a powerful processing week and change your life so you can change somebody else's life. All right.